Deep within Vietnam's central highlands lies the Ia Drang Valley, a place where the dense jungle hides not only the scars of warfare, but also tales that defy explanation. In November 1965, amidst the thick foliage and rugged terrain, Charlie Company of the 1st Cavalry Division, Airmobile, embarked on a mission that would lead them into the heart of enemy territory. Unbeknownst to them, they were about to encounter not just the North Vietnamese forces, but also experiences that would challenge their understanding of reality. The Vietnam War, a conflict that spanned nearly 2 decades, was marked by its complexity and the deep divisions it caused. The Battle of Ia Drang, which took place from November 14th to 18th, 1965, was the first major clash between U.S. forces and the North Vietnamese Army, NVA. Charlie Company, along with other units of the 1st Cavalry Division, was inserted into the valley with the objective of engaging the enemy and disrupting their operations in the Central Highlands. This mission would become a defining moment, not just for the soldiers involved, but also for the history of the conflict. As the helicopters touched down and the soldiers disembarked, they sensed an unusual stillness in the air. The jungle, typically alive with sounds, was eerily quiet. In the days that followed, amidst fierce battles and heavy casualties, some soldiers began to experience phenomena that defied logical explanation. Whispers in the wind, fleeting shadows, and dreams of ancient rituals led them to question, were these manifestations remnants of the past, or was there something more at play in the heart of the Ia Drang Valley? As Charlie Company descended into the heart of the Ia Drang Valley, the dense jungle enveloped them, its towering trees and thick underbrush creating an almost suffocating atmosphere. The usual cacophony of jungle life was conspicuously absent, replaced by an unsettling silence that seemed to press in from all sides. The soldiers exchanged uneasy glances, each feeling the weight of the jungle's oppressive presence. The air was thick with humidity, and the scent of damp earth and decaying foliage filled their nostrils. Every rustle in the underbrush heightened their senses, but nothing revealed itself. This silence, so unnatural in its completeness, gnawed at their nerves, setting the stage for the inexplicable events that were to follow. In the days following their arrival, the men of Charlie Company began to experience phenomena that defied logical explanation. It started with vivid dreams of ancient rituals performed by indigenous tribes, their chants echoing in the night. Soldiers awoke with lingering images of shadowy figures dancing around flickering fires, their faces painted in intricate patterns. These dreams were not confined to a few. Many spoke of similar visions, each more vivid and detailed than the last. Conversations around the campfire revealed shared experiences, whispers in the wind, fleeting glimpses of figures just beyond the edge of vision, and an overwhelming sense of being watched. The line between reality and the supernatural began to blur, leaving the men questioning the nature of their surroundings. One evening, as the company set up camp near a small clearing, an elderly man appeared at the edge of their perimeter. Dressed in simple robes, his weathered face bore the marks of age and wisdom. Through broken English and gestures, he conveyed a warning. The valley was sacred, home to spirits that guarded its ancient secrets. Disturbing their rest could provoke these spirits, leading to misfortune and death. The soldiers listened, some skeptical, others uneasy, but all sensing the gravity of his words. The shaman's presence was a stark reminder that they were intruders in a land steeped in history and mysticism, where the past and present intertwined in ways they could not comprehend. Days turned into weeks as Charlie Company remained entrenched within the dense confines of the Ia Drang Valley. The unyielding silence of the jungle, coupled with the oppressive heat and ceaseless humidity, began to erode the soldiers' mental fortitude. Sleep-deprived and isolated, many began to experience vivid hallucinations. Some saw spectral figures of ancient warriors emerging from the mist, their expressions unreadable yet intense. Others felt an inexplicable compulsion to engage in rituals they couldn't fully comprehend, movements and chants that seemed to rise from deep within their subconscious. This collective psychological strain fostered a growing sense of unease, as the boundaries between reality and illusion became increasingly indistinct. In the oppressive heat of the Ia Drang Valley, With the weight of isolation pressing heavily upon them, a group of soldiers from Charlie Company sought solace in an act that transcended their military training. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over their camp, they gathered around a central fire. Their faces, illuminated by the flickering flames, betrayed a mix of determination and desperation. Drawing upon fragmented memories of indigenous ceremonies they'd observed during their deployment, they endeavored to recreate a ritual they hoped would offer protection and clarity. The process began with the arrangement of simple offerings, leaves, fruits, and flowers, placed meticulously around the fire. Each item was chosen for its perceived significance, though their understanding was limited. They began by facing east, aligning themselves with the rising sun, and offered a silent prayer, a blend of personal hopes and borrowed words. With synchronized movements, they dipped their hands into water collected from a nearby stream, sprinkling it around the fire to purify their space. The air was thick with anticipation as they chanted words they scarcely understood, their voices rising and falling in an unfamiliar cadence. As the ritual progressed, a profound stillness enveloped the camp. The usual nocturnal sounds of the jungle seemed to fade, replaced by an eerie quiet. The soldiers, caught in a trance-like state, continued their chants, their eyes glazed, fixated on the dancing flames. Time appeared to stretch and contract, moments blending into an indistinct whole. Suddenly, the fire flared, casting elongated shadows that seemed to move independently. The soldiers recoiled, breaking their synchronized movements, their hearts racing. The jungle, once again alive with its myriad sounds, returned to its usual nocturnal symphony. The ritual, though uninvited and born from a mix of fear and hope, left an indelible mark on their collective psyche. As the dense jungle canopy of the Ia Drang Valley enveloped Charlie Company, an unsettling stillness hung in the air. The usual symphony of tropical wildlife was eerily absent, replaced by a heavy silence that pressed against the soldiers' ears. Their boots sank into the soft earth, each step muffled, as if the very ground sought to swallow their presence. Without warning, the tranquility shattered. North Vietnamese forces emerged from the underbrush with calculated precision, their movements synchronized and deliberate. The clash was immediate and intense, the crack of gunfire reverberating through the valley. But amidst the chaos, something inexplicable occurred. Soldiers felt sudden, inexplicable chills, as if an unseen presence brushed against their skin. Some glimpsed fleeting shadows darting between trees, figures that vanished upon direct gaze. The boundary between the tangible and the ethereal seemed to blur, creating a battlefield where both physical and metaphysical forces collided. Realizing the futility of their position, the order to retreat was issued. The soldiers moved with urgency, hearts pounding not just from exertion, but from an overwhelming sense of being pursued. The jungle, once a familiar terrain, now felt alien and hostile. Branches seemed to reach out, tripping and ensnaring them, as if the forest itself conspired against their escape. Whispers floated on the wind, indistinct yet unmistakably human, calling their names from unseen sources. Some soldiers reported cold hands brushing against their skin, sending jolts of icy terror through their veins. The oppressive presence behind them grew palpable, each footfall heavy with the weight of unseen pursuers. By the time they reached the relative safety of their base camp, several men were missing, their whereabouts unknown, leaving only the haunting echoes of their last screams. The survivors returned to their base camp, their bodies weary, but their minds burdened with unspoken horrors. Sleep eluded them as they lay in their hammocks, the whispers of the jungle morphing into voices calling from beyond the grave. Some spoke of seeing their fallen comrades standing at the edge of their camps, their forms translucent and flickering like dying embers, only to vanish upon closer inspection. The once vibrant camaraderie among the men gave way to a pervasive silence, each soldier lost in his own haunted thoughts. The valley had taken more than their friends. It had claimed their peace of mind, leaving them to question the nature of their experiences. Were they victims of the jungle's oppressive atmosphere? Or had they truly encountered something beyond the realm of the living? The line between reality and the supernatural had been irrevocably blurred, leaving scars that no amount of time could heal. Returning home from the harrowing jungles of Vietnam, many veterans found themselves confronting an unspoken battle, reintegrating into a society that could scarcely comprehend the horrors they had endured. The vibrant streets they once knew now seemed foreign, their rhythms out of sync with the memories haunting their minds. The camaraderie of fellow soldiers was replaced by the isolation of civilian life, leaving a void that was difficult to fill. Sleep eluded many, replaced by restless nights filled with vivid flashbacks and lingering echoes of distant gunfire. The faces of fallen comrades appeared unbidden, their eyes reflecting stories of sacrifice and loss. Daytime offered no respite, as triggers, be it a sudden loud noise or a particular scent, would transport them back to the jungles of Ia Drang. One veteran recounted, he couldn't sit still for long and couldn't sleep. He had night terrors and day triggers that burned a haunted look into his eyes. Economic hardships compounded these challenges. Many struggled to find stable employment, their military experience not always translating to civilian job markets. This economic instability further strained their sense of identity and purpose. Veterans often faced economic instability due to unemployment or underemployment, impacting their ability to secure housing and meet basic needs. The Ia Drang Valley, site of intense conflict, became a focal point for tales that blurred the lines between reality and legend. Whispers among veterans spoke of footsteps echoing in empty camps and fleeting shadows darting between trees. One account described returning to the valley for a reconnaissance mission, only to be enveloped by an overwhelming sense of presence, as if the land itself remembered and mourned its lost sons. Local legends spoke of spirits, ancient warriors and fallen soldiers, whose souls remained tethered to the valley, unable to find peace. These tales, passed down through generations, painted a picture of a land steeped in both beauty and sorrow, where every rustling leaf and whispering wind carried the weight of untold stories. The intersection of cultural beliefs, psychological trauma, and the supernatural invites contemplation on the nature of human experience. Are the hauntings of the Ia Drang Valley manifestations of collective grief, or do they represent something beyond our understanding? The stories of these veterans challenge us to confront our perceptions of reality, belief, and the enduring scars of war. We invite you, our viewers, to share your thoughts, theories, and personal experiences related to the tales of the Ia Drang Valley. Your insights enrich our collective understanding and foster a community bound by curiosity and respect. Stay tuned for upcoming explorations into other lesser-known, chilling tales from history. Each narrative offers a unique lens through which we can examine the complexities of human nature, belief, and the unknown.